Good evening. Welcome to the Colleges of Arts and Sciences online information session for the Performing Arts, hosted by Professor Jeff Illom and Professor Ross Duffin. I'm from the Office of Undergraduate Studies, and I will be taking your questions via email to be answered live on air. If you have a question, please send it to summerreghelp@case.edu with the subject line Info Session. If we do not answer your question live, we will follow up with you via email shortly. Now to your hosts, Professor Illom and Professor Duffin.
Hi, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Jeffrey Illom, faculty member of the theater department.
I'm Ross Duffin. I'm interim chair of the music department.
And we just want to give you some information about about our programs and about different opportunities available in our departments and also throughout the college. The theater department at Case, we are the second oldest department. I didn't know this even before I moved here. Second oldest department in the country after Yale, which is really quite an achievement, yeah. And so we have a long history of excellence and production, and it really is a very exciting place to be.
Music department is known primarily because we have a joint program with the Cleveland Institute of Music, and that's a great asset for us, but we also have a fantastic faculty of our own, and about 100 majors and 50 graduate students, and a really flourishing program. And look forward to telling you all about the opportunities that are in our department for non-majors especially.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do first, we're going to go look at the Department of Theater first in the presentation that we have here. This is the building that's on the slide presentation. This is Eldred Theater. It's a wonderful old facility. It actually contains two theaters. There's a small black box down below, and there's a larger theater, which you'll see some production images from. As a department, we are very much supportive of the college's overall mission in terms of supporting liberal arts. That is, that we aim to develop the artist and the scholar together, and we do not favor one over the other, or we see them as intertwined. And so these different images that you see here, it's not only just about productions, but it's about the process. It's about the student learning. One of the great things that I find about our department are the opportunities that we offer students that regardless of experience, regardless of whether they're major, minors, or non-majors, or non-minors, that you're always welcome, and we can always use your help, want your contribution. And we see this in a variety of ways. Because we are a smaller department on campus compared to some of the sciences and certainly engineering, it means that we rely on our students. We like to give our students responsibility, to give them experience, to give them the opportunity to contribute, to have their ideas represented on stage, either on stage, behind stage, in classroom presentations, regardless. And so we really do want to include students, regardless of their background and experience, regardless of whatever declared major is. We really are a university theater program. And so what we want to show here in this presentation, what we have here are classes that students can take. They're depending upon your interest. These are classes, the ones listed on here, are ones that are available to students without any kind of prerequisite. You see the variety. There's a one-year acting sequence. The ones listed on this screen are simply the first semester. Theater 100 is an acting class. It gives you kind of the basics. And there's always a lot of questions, and I'm sure you get this too in music, that someone comes in with some experience and, oh, well, I've already done this. Can I go ahead into advanced level? You're now getting trained by world-class professionals, and you're going to get some kind of new terminology, new basics that it is still challenging for a freshman, even with some experience coming in. Would you agree?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And I think that you know, the experience of coming into college level ensemble, musical ensemble, and be directed by somebody who has, you know, nationally renowned skills, is something that most of the students have not had a chance to do, and so they're going to be challenged no matter what group they come into.
Yeah, what's really interesting with ours is these Theater 100 classes. The person who's teaching them for this year was in Smallville. My wife was watching her. My wife's an age was watching her in Smallville, you know, in TV. So we've got faculty who are, you know, professionals, and so you're going to get an experience from the faculty like nothing else you would have gotten before. And then Theater 103 is the second semester sequence. If you're interested in design tech, we've got a Theater 105, which is kind of the nuts and bolts, how you build set construction and so forth like that. Theater 111 is a brand new course called Intro to Design. You'll get exposed to lighting design, which is great for engineers as well, but also set design, costume design, sound design, a lot of different applications for different majors in there. In terms of playwriting and theater history classes, those are theater history and play. There's a lot of those. You'll have to suffer with me in the classroom, I'm afraid, if you take those. But those are open to students across the university. And the great joy that I find in teaching those is having people who aren't majors and minors in those classes, because it becomes much more interdisciplinary. I get to see, oh, we were talking about this in my anthropology class. Oh, we were looking at this in my Spanish class. They bring those experiences into the classroom, and that really helps the discussion for the theater majors. It becomes much more complex, much more engaging, and that's how I also learn as a faculty member. And then also general theater. This is a brand new course that we're offering called Intro to Theater, which looks at all these aspects combined. Looks at criticism, audience trends, design aspects, playwriting, directing, all those together in one semester. So these are great courses for incoming students to take, that even if you don't plan on majoring or minoring, you're just interested in theater, these satisfy breadth requirements for the humanities and are really, really fascinating classes to take. The faculty, just real quick as a note, as I mentioned before, our faculty are all working professionals. That's our chair. This wonderful faculty member who's coming up, she actually was just acting in a film with Tom Cruise a few months ago. So we're all, still very much working in the industry, so we kind of know what students need to know getting into the field. Not that we're expecting all of our students to go into theater, to go into film. There might just be a curiosity, but nevertheless, we teach our classes with the approach that students are going to be using some of these skills, how to be critical, how to be self-aware, how to be comfortable with yourself. You'd use them in presentations in a boardroom, you use these skills and these ideas everywhere. And so a lot of our classes are geared towards that, again, developing the artist and scholar. So we're not solely focused just on theater by itself. This is a wide range of faculty member that we have in terms of the design. If you're interested in theater, regardless of being a major, minor, non-major, you're always welcome to come join our productions. Our auditions are open to the university. You do not have to be in a class. And you come and you audition. If you don't have to have anything prepared, we will give you material once you're there. And there is no kind of hierarchy. If you're a senior and major, you don't get any necessary preference over someone who's an undeclared, freshman. The idea is, how can you be good on stage as a senior if you're not on stage as a freshman? That's how you learn. The stage is an extension of the classroom. We do 4 productions each year. Usually a wide variety of different shows, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. But we do large and small shows. We've done a show here recently that had a cast of 26, I believe, to shows that are very, very small. And also depending upon students' interest, we select these plays after gaining suggestions from the students. And so these are productions and shows that the students themselves are very much interested in doing. But everyone across the university is welcome. And I think it's great, because then someone's bringing a different kind of experience into our production as opposed to the same old tried and true people. I love working with new people who I haven't worked with before. That's a wonderful challenge for me. Hopefully it's a challenge for them. And so I really do encourage you just to come and give us a try. Come to auditions. The information's on our theater department website. And it really is a absolutely wonderful experience. If you've ever been involved in theater, and I know the same, in terms of music and ensembles, it's like nothing else. It's why we love the humanities and why we love the arts, is because it is such an enriching experience. In terms of productions, you're going to see here a whole list of shows. These are just a number of shows that we've done in the past 4 years between our undergrad and our grad program. This doesn't even include student productions. What we try to do as a department, and what we think benefits the students as well, is that we try to provide students with a wide swath of play, so that during their 4 years here at Case, they're exposed to all different sorts of styles of playwriting, design, time periods. Whether they come see them or not, or whether every student is, nevertheless the opportunity is there. And so if we do a Greek play, we won't do it again for another 2 years. Shakespeare we'll do every other year. That's kind of the exceptions, of course, Shakespeare. But really for the most part, we really try to make each theater experience different from anything else the student's going to get. And so it's great for students to get involved with that opportunity. You're never going to do the same thing twice.
I have a question for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
The MFA program is so well known. Do these undergraduates ever have any contact with the MFA students?
We've had several undergraduates act with the graduate students and down in the professional theater. We've had some of the grad students come and do workshops that are open to our students. You don't have to be majors or minors for those as well. They just say, I want to do a workshop on this acting technique that I just studied over the summer. And then whoever wants to show up, shows up. And so we do kind of depend upon our graduate students to help. They're not instructors, we don't have any TAs in our classes, but because, I mean, they love theater, they love the art, they want to just help everybody just the same. And so they're always around the building. And so, yeah, absolutely we do. If you look here, what we're going on here is opportunities as well, and it's kind of odd for non-majors to think about this, but we have study abroad opportunities as well. Because what you could do is satisfy a whole breadth requirement simply by studying abroad. The only requirement we have, it's not our requirements, these programs, is to audition or to design or somehow submit an application. That is theater-based. But we have students in Moscow. These are pictures of students of mine, obviously from London. A student who is a biology major went to Puerto Rico and actually took a theater class as part of his biology engineering study abroad opportunity there. And so there are some different possibilities. Like any department, whether major or non-major, you have to plan ahead for study abroad opportunities. But I just wanted to mention that this is an opportunity for all students. And real quick, because I'm running out of time, I've gone much longer than I thought it would, I apologize. I want to mention our two student groups. We have two groups that are part of the department that do really phenomenal work. One is Players Theaters Group. That's just some of the shows they did in the past 2 years. These are student groups that are student-directed, student-performed. The faculty, we have hands off because we want it to be a much more experimental place where students can risk and try some new endeavors. And they do 3 shows a year. 3 shows a semester. And so those are extra opportunities that when we're not doing a show on the main stage, there's a show downstage in the black box. And then in addition to this group that does plays, we also have our award-winning improv troupe called Improvement. They do shows every single weekend as well. So we'll do a show in the black box and then waiting around 10 o'clock, 11, they do a show. You have to audition for them as well. Audition notices are posted for the Players Theaters Group on our website as well as around. They'll all have booths at the fair at the beginning of the semester to give all sorts of information about how to get involved with them. Again, if you're doing 3 shows a semester, there's a lot of audition opportunities. And then certainly last but not least, if you just love theater, you go see the Cleveland Playhouse. We have groups that go down to see the different shows at the Cleveland Playhouse. And we have a professional affiliation with the Cleveland Playhouse. Our grad program, as mentioned, is with the Cleveland Playhouse, which is the longest running professional theater in the history of America. It's a really phenomenal opportunity. Tickets are low, $10 for our students. I mean, so it really is remarkable. So you can always just come see shows with us. And if you have any questions specifically about theater, here's my contact information. Feel free to contact me anytime. And I'll be happy to answer questions you have. And now,
over to me. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to bring up the PowerPoint, the other PowerPoint. So let me see if I can do that without creating any difficulties. Here we go. Okay. So this is us. This is where most of our faculty have their offices. As you can see, we also have our music library there, specialized music library, and in the basement, what we call the core, the computer music lab, dedicated Macintosh computer lab, and the person that runs it, our computer lab manager, Sarah Bailey, is the only certified Mac technician on campus, I think. So we feel really special to have someone so qualified to be doing that. But this is where you'll come to meet with faculty. If you're taking courses or in ensembles and you want to find them, you will find us in Hayden Hall. I tried to think of the ways in which non-majors would interact with the music department, and there were 3 big things that came to mind. One is that you might want to take course electives, and you might even want to do a minor in music, and so I'm going to say a little bit about that. Another is that you might want to take lessons on an instrument or a voice. And the other way, and the way in which most non-majors interact with the music department, is by participation in one of the ensembles. We have a lot of ensembles, and I think I calculated there were close to 1,000 students a week that go through our ensembles and courses in the music department. So it's a lot of students. So that suggests that most of you who are out there tuning in, your interest may be in participating in an ensemble. So some information. The minor in music consists of 15 credit hours, 6 in theory, 6 in history or appreciation, and 3 others. And those 3 others can be in either one of those areas, or they could be through ensemble participation or through taking lessons. It's just that 15 credit hours, and we like to have a distribution of those credits. Courses especially for non-majors. So a lot of departments in the College of Arts and Sciences don't have special courses for non-majors. They just say, well, take these courses that are at the 200 level or whatever. But we've actually designed a lot of courses that are specifically for non-majors, and that we think give them a really good background in the subject. So Music Theory 103 and 104, that's our sequence of theory for non-majors. Intro to Music 1 and 2. We're starting this year at MUGN 250. This is a competitive process where our PhD students, we have a fabulous graduate program, are competing to be able to offer special topics courses in the area that they're working on for their dissertations. So that's going to start next spring, and we're really excited and they're really excited to be doing it too.
That's great.
Digital music, so you want to find out about using the computer in making music, music notation, creating music files, digital music files, that's the course for you, open to non-majors. Jazz skills 1 and 2, history of rock and roll, history and styles of jazz. And then you can take MUHI, the music history courses that are mostly for majors. You just need to get the permission of the instructor. And of course then there are seminars, SAGES seminars in music that you can look for as well. So all of those possibilities for non-majors taking courses in music. Okay, lessons, and I often get this question, which is why this slide is up here. You can take lessons, and the lessons would be at CIM, at the Cleveland Institute of Music, just like our majors. They're available to everybody, all the students at the university, but anybody who is not a music major pays an applied music fee. They pay an additional fee that's added to the term bill beyond the fee that you would pay for the credits. For the majors, the university pays CIM for those lessons, but everybody else pays an applied music fee. But you can do it, and you may use those credits for doing a minor or whatever it is you want to do. Ensembles, lots of different kinds of ensembles. Large ensembles, small ensembles. Some of them are auditioned and some are non-auditioned. You just show up and participate. You don't have to audition. Lots of choices of both vocal and instrumental ensembles. So here's a list that I just copied down today of all the different ensembles. This is why we have 1,000 students taking part, because all these different ensembles, and you can see that there are bands and orchestras and chamber ensembles of various descriptions, specialized ensembles like the percussion ensemble. Down the bottom is the Marching Spartans, and I have a slide of that later on. Choirs of various sorts, concert choirs and audition choir, university singers is not, so you'd be able to just show up and sing if that's what you want to do. And then the lower part of the right column are specialized ensembles in historical performance, which happens to be one of our graduate specialties, but all of these ensembles are open to university students by audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Baroque chamber ensemble.
Yeah, Baroque chamber ensemble. Okay, so now some slides of our ensembles at work in the places where they perform. If you've been to Cleveland, or if you're from Cleveland, you would recognize this as Severance Hall. Usually once a year we splurge and put our large ensembles in Severance Hall, and it's a great experience. It's a great experience for the students to be able to play in such a hallowed hall as that, and wonderful for the parents and families to come and see their child on stage. So that's something that we try to do every year, and so if you're in one of the large ensembles, you can certainly expect to be there. I should mention also that Severance Hall is right in the middle of our campus. It occupies land that is smack dab in the middle, right on Euclid Avenue, and we have an arrangement where our students, university students, get subsidized tickets to Cleveland Orchestra concerts. So if you're taking one of the music classes, you can come and collect a ticket for a Cleveland Orchestra concert for just $5. So it's hard to beat a deal like that. To come and watch a world-class ensemble, and to be able to do it sometimes on a weekly basis for $5.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I mean, was it Forbes recently said that Universe Circle was one of the top 10 neighborhoods in the country?
Wouldn't surprise me.
And if you're interested in the humanities, CIM, Severance Hall, Museum of Art, Museum of Natural History. It's all right here. I mean, so if you take a class in art history, you don't just look at it in a book. You go look at the painting in the museum.
Yeah, you take classes in the art museum. Yeah, it's
an amazing opportunity. I've never seen a campus like it.
I think that the advantages that we have in the arts are really greater than those for any other university in the country.
Absolutely.
I mean, even in New York City, there are no universities that are that have such institutions right on the campus, and so it's a wonderful thing for us.
Yeah.
So not all our concerts are at Severance Hall. This slide, this next slide shows the University Circle Symphony Orchestra performing in Coulis Hall, which is the large performing hall at the Cleveland Institute of Music. So about 4 times a year, our large ensembles will perform in Coulis Hall. CIM is very close. It's another thing that's right on our campus. It's a 2-minute walk. Students frequently have classes at CIM, and then 10 minutes later they have a class on our campus in the College of Arts and Sciences, and they have no problem getting between them. We're really that close. Wow. And then we have some concerts in the Excelsior Ballroom in Twing Center. They've just started construction, as I'm sure Jeff knows, for the new student union, and they've blocked off streets, and it's going to be a fantastic operation over the next couple of years. The old student union is a beautiful, gracious building, and it has this ballroom in it, and we use it for occasional performances. And this year, for example, will be the 24th year for what we call Windy and Jazzy, where the wind ensembles, the bands, and the jazz ensembles all perform, and they put tables up and people come in and enjoy refreshments while they're listening to the music. That's usually around the beginning of December.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Excelsior Ballroom is a place that is a lovely.
It's amazing
place for performance.
The offerings on this campus, if you're interested in the arts. I mean, things like that. Like it's one of the. This is a side note because I want you to get back to your presentation. But as a faculty member, like every day I leave, it's like, oh, there's so many things I could stay and watch and do.
Yeah.
You know, if I could live my life on campus.
It's true. Yeah. Of course, you know, for faculty, they have young families and so on. They have to get home for that. But there is a lot going on.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm putting this slide up because the Church of the Covenant is literally right behind our building. If you were to scroll back to that first slide, if you're watching this on the video, you'd see a little gray tower, stone tower, peeking up from behind Hayden Hall, and that is the Church of the Covenant. And our large ensembles, the orchestra and the choir, have begun doing joint performances in the Church of the Covenant, and it literally is a stone's throw. I could throw a stone from Hayden Hall to Church of the Covenant. So it's very convenient, and it's a beautiful space. As you can see, they've just done a big renovation. And so that's a lovely spot for such joint performances as well. This is the outside of our main recital hall, Harkness Chapel. It was built, I think, in 1902 in memory of Florence Harkness Severance. She was married into the Severance family. And it is administered entirely by the music department now. It only functions as a concert hall. And you can see in this photo the beautiful windows, which we only discovered maybe 20 years ago or so, were actually made by the Tiffany Company. Somebody published a book on Louis Comfort Tiffany, and listed there was a complete set of windows for Harkness Chapel.
Fascinating.
So that's an asset, and it is a beautiful space for music. I think it's one of the best chamber halls in all of Cleveland. This is the inside of Harkness Chapel, and that's the concert choir on the stage with Matthew Garrett, the director. And you'll see several slides now of different ensembles performing there. There's the Camerata Chamber Orchestra. It's the smaller orchestra we have, and it is something that would be open to you, certainly. And I mentioned the historical performance ensembles. Here are a couple of them. The Collegium Musicum, which tends to have instrumental instruments like recorders and shawms and sackbuts and viols and things like that. And the Early Music Singers, which is a small early music choir, performing music from the Renaissance and eras like that. This slide is here. It shows you our Baroque Orchestra, and I put this in because it's showing the Baroque Orchestra coached by Ton Koopman. Ton Koopman was artist in residence with the Cleveland Orchestra this year, and has been coming for the last 2 years, and will come one more year. And he directs the Amsterdam Baroque Orchestra. So we were really, really thrilled to have him come So again, we were fortunate because of the proximity of the Cleveland Orchestra, and we were able to nab this fantastic, world-renowned musician to come and coach our students. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah. The jazz band, there are 2 jazz bands. The picture on the left you can see is again in Harkness Chapel, but they do perform other places. The one on the right, I think, is at Nighttown Restaurant, which is close to campus and is a real center for performances. So they perform a lot. Our jazz band director is Paul Ferguson, who's been around for a long time. He's been lead trombone in the Tommy Dorsey and Glenn Miller orchestras.
Wow,
and,
that's right. We got me there last time we talked.
Right,
That's right.
yeah. And so he's very well known in Cleveland. He does composing and arranging. He just got back from the Netherlands. He was a finalist for a jazz composition prize in the Netherlands. So
Wow.
Anyway, so very active jazz scene on campus. Spartan Marching Band, you can see it's not as big as the OSU Marching Band, but there's real enthusiasm there. And they get to perform in our new Case Stadium. You can see that the Case Field is right in the midst of the dorms in the village at 115. And it's a fantastic athletic facility, and it's a very enthusiastic group.
Yeah.
And this is where they rehearse, and this is where all of the large ensembles rehearse. It's a Dennis and Wade rehearsal facility, and it's right across the street from the village at 115, so it's very convenient. And it's, in fact, very convenient for so many music students. A lot of music students, certainly majors, but a lot of students in general live in the North Dorms, and Dennis and Wade is right in the middle of the North Dorms. It could not be any more convenient. And when I was chair previously, I arranged for it to have 24-hour key card access. So with the practice rooms that are in there, you could go in and practice and not annoy your roommate in the middle of the night.
And there's a van system that runs throughout the campus. So if you're on the living on this other side of the campus, it's still easy to get to.
Yeah, there's a bus that goes around and you can get there. Right. Okay, we're getting close. Yes, you're all going to recognize this. We've had a relationship with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since it began in the late '90s. We have the Music Masters Conference in the fall that we participate with, and we've started doing more with rock music in the department. Naturally, with the Cleveland Institute of Music so close by, we've been focused on classical music, but there's a lot more interest in popular music these days, and we recognize that. And because of the Rock Hall, we really have a lot of advantages in popular music that a lot of schools don't have. And so we've now got PhD students whose primary interest is in researching rock music. The Rock Archive just opened this year, so they've got a lifetime's worth of material. And we have a new undergraduate concentration in popular music that's just starting this year, and a popular music ensemble that will be starting as well. So that slides in there just to remind people that that you don't have to be a classical musician to find something to do in our department. And then this, Jeff will recognize this. This is the Temple Tifereth Israel, which is very close to campus. If you know the campus area at all, it's just the other side of the Art Museum from our main campus. And the Maltz family has given a very large and generous donation to help convert this to a performing arts center. And so this is a project that will be ongoing over the next few years. There's a lot of work to be done. There's tear down, there's new construction, there's performance spaces. There's going to be a new proscenium theater.
There's going to be a proscenium theater as well as a larger black box, and then also some room for our acting classes
and set. And
a big
set workshop and so
set workshop and design stuff and so
So it's going to be a wonderful new facility. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a while, I think, before it's done. Maybe those of you who are coming in it as freshmen right now, you might get a chance to perform in it before the 4 years is done. This next slide shows one of our chamber groups performing in that space, and then a slide showing the main sanctuary of the temple, which will be the large performance space. And where you see the stage, it's really quite small. It really would be suitable for lectures, and they're going to have a fantastic system where the floor will rise up and basically make the stage much large enough for a full orchestra and chorus, and it'll seat 1,400 people and be one of the most beautiful
And your part will
concert
be done
halls.
first, if I'm correct, will it not be?
Yeah, this part is going to be pretty much as you see it, except it'll have new seats and new lighting and various other things.
yeah.
The acoustical stuff is going to be accomplished. So it would take, once we have all the funding lined up and so on, it'll take about 2 years
Right.
to convert this space, and then the rest of it will take longer.
Because most of the theater part is new construction, so that's why our section will take longer.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, just as there are student-run performing organizations in theater, there are some in music as well. The a cappella scene there is active. I've just chosen 2 that I happen to remember: Solstice, women's a cappella group, and Speakeasy, men's a cappella group. Entirely student-run. They have auditions, of course, and very active and very enthusiastic. Also, Footlighters, and I don't know whether you've had any connection with the Footlighters.
A lot of our students are in Solstice Footlighters. There's in there all together. So.
Right, yeah. So the Footlighters, they have an advisor on the music faculty, but really they do everything. The stage direction, stage direction and music direction are all done by students. They choose the productions. They do 1 production a semester, I think.
Yeah.
And so those things are open to you as opportunities as well. I don't want to give the impression that it's just our ensembles. There are things to be doing that are student run and that can be really exciting. The last slide is just some links. The ensembles link at the top takes you to the page that lists all of the ensembles. It lists all of the directors. And if you want to take lessons, you need to go through the music department office, so that email is there. And then information about the music minor is there. I should say one thing about maybe about registering for ensembles, because some of them are going to say, if you try to register for them, some of them are going to say consent of instructor. And usually that's true if there's an audition. And so you should go ahead and contact the instructor and express your interest in it, or you should show up for the first session and make yourself known, and so that you can get auditioned. Some of these auditions are merely for placement. So if you go up for the Symphonic Winds, for example, you will have to audition, but it's not saying that you can't be in the group. It's only saying that you're going to play second stand clarinet or whatever, not that you can't play. So some of the ensembles do have what we call gateway auditions, where you need to audition in order to be admitted to the ensemble, but others that you're just auditioning for placement. So anyway, that's all the slides that I have, and so I think we're ready for, yes, you too. Oh, wow. I think we're ready for whatever comes from you.
Great, you guys. A lot of information, and I've been on campus a lot of times and knew some of the programs and ensembles were out there, but I didn't realize there were so many in between your departments, so that's great. I just want to remind students that if they do have questions, they can send them in to summerreghelp@case.edu. We do have a few questions already, but we're more than happy to read all the ones that come in. So to begin with, since you talk so much about the ensembles, students want to know, can they be in more than one ensemble at a time in a given semester?
Sure. There's no restriction on how many ensembles you can be in. It's only on the basis of how many hours you have to spend and whether the ensembles conflict or not. Because that it could happen that you're trying to be in ensembles that have conflicting rehearsal times. But we don't tell students how many ensembles that they can or cannot be in. That's just entirely up to you.
At the same time, and I mean, feel free to disagree, we always are concerned with students coming in, especially in the first semester, that bite off more than they can chew. I mean, and so we have students that come in, they get cast in a main stage show, they also want to do one of the student group shows. And you have to be great at time management. The key to success at college is time management. And you know that if you do ensembles, if you're in a show, it means that when you're done with rehearsal, you have to go and do your homework. I would recommend, and Bob would disagree, that in your first semester, take it just a bit easier and get your feet wet, get grounded, know what your schedule is going to be before you start taking on multiple ensembles, multiple shows. Would you agree?
Oh, sure. It's always a good idea to pace yourself when you first get to college. You don't know what your requirements are going to be. You don't know whether the courses that you're signing up for are going to be extremely heavy and require a big load. So until you get your feet on the ground, it's probably a good idea to take it somewhat easy.
Yeah.
So another question about ensembles. Students are starting to put things in their shopping cart, and someone has emailed in saying that they noticed that the ensembles are either for 0 or 1 credit hour. Can you maybe explain the difference and if they should register for 0 or 1, if there are different expectations?
Sure. We have the 0 option as an option for ensembles because a lot of our majors, for example, they want to and they need to take a lot of different ensembles. Some of these kids are music education majors, and they are going out in the schools and they want to have every ensemble option that they can get. But they can't take that many credits in their curriculum. I think if you have 20 credits or more, oh, Lynn Marie, you would know. If you have 20 credits or more, you have to get permission from undergraduate studies in order to do that kind of load. So this is a way to allow the students to participate in the ensembles, but not have to get their credit load up to the astronomical proportions, because otherwise the music majors especially would be just overloaded with credits that they don't really need. They don't need dozens of credits of ensemble.
Right.
So that's why it's there, the option to take it for 0 credit and not add to your credit load.
Yeah. There is also possibility in terms of our main stage production, not the student groups, but our main stage productions. You can get 1 hour of credit for each role that you're performing in or working on. If you're a stage manager, tech crew, things like that, you can also get credit for those as well. Needed.
Great. And just to clarify that students, if they do need more than 19 hours, need to get approval, but we usually don't let first years go beyond that. And we really recommend between 14 and 17, just to kind of follow up on what you guys had talked about earlier about time management and kind of figuring things out their first year. So it's a good way to kind of balance everything.
Yeah, I mean, you don't be fighting your GPA from your first semester on,
right.
So.
Okay, so this is, now we're changing over to theater, and people want to know if they take some of the intro theater courses that you mentioned, the Theater 105 and some of the other 100 level courses, will they fulfill any graduation requirements if they're not a theater major?
Absolutely. These courses count as the humanities requirement for whether you're in engineering or whether you're in the College of Arts and Science. These are courses that satisfy breadth requirements throughout the universities. So absolutely. These classes, and also just in a general sense beyond that, I know that a lot of students, especially coming in, you're worried about different requirements and does each course count. The same thing with music courses. You're taught just a different mindset. You're taught a new set of skills that you will find are applicable to a whole wide range of different fields. For example, we've had a lot of students take acting classes that actually are coming over from the law school, that are pre-med, because they want to learn how to be able to talk to somebody, bedside manner, and so forth like that. We've had our acting faculty goes over and teaches actually at the law school as well. And so these classes will count as breadth requirements. But also, I think just the skills that you use are going to help you. Many classes, anthropology, sociology, they have class presentations. And a lot of the skills that we get to know how to perform, how to control nerves, that you get in performing in ensembles, you get in acting classes, they're going to help you in numerous ways.
Yeah, I think that in music we're encouraging our students to speak when they perform much more than ever used to be the case. The norms of what happens in a classical music concert are changing, and I think that relating to the audience by speaking about what you're doing or speaking about the music that you're playing is one way in which that those barriers are being broken down, and I think it's a really healthy thing.
Interesting.
Right. I guess those are some really good points that I don't think people take in consideration when they do use these speaking skills in lots of different professions. So we have another question about the theater performances. If people are in some of these productions, how much time does that take for a given production, or how much are they going to be doing in a given week or semester? It
all depends upon your role. Hamlet would obviously be there. That would be there a lot. But also at the same time, you can make clear to the faculty member what exact kind of level you would like to be. If there's roles you want to be considered for, not be considered for. I would say for the most part, we're very, very cognizant of the fact, being a small liberal arts school, that you are not here simply to focus on theater. You're not here simply to focus on the music, because you have a wide range of other classes that you have to take. You have studies, you have tests, you have papers. And so therefore, usually schedules are constructed to accommodate students, especially the other classes that they may have. You get the schedule far in advance so that you know how to time manage yourself throughout the week. And so the level of involvement is really kind of up to the student. You can always, and I'm sure it's in music with a number of ensembles, you can be as involved as you want to be and give as much time as you want to.
But isn't it true, though, that there's no getting around Tech Week and...
Tech Week, Tech Week, you belong to us. But even then, our rehearsals won't go past a certain point in time at night because we know you've got stuff to do. We work ourselves, or we're based off of the professional model. We take breaks whenever they do in professional theater. Every 50 minutes you get a 10-minute break. We won't rehearse past a certain hour. We're not one of those theater companies that'll be in a theater painting sets till 2 in the morning because that doesn't do the students any good for any of their classes. So our schedule is demanding for a short period of time, obviously Tech Week getting ready for a show. But outside of that, we pretty much are very cognizant of the fact that you have other responsibilities. And if we didn't consider those, you wouldn't be at Case for very long. Yeah. And we like you and we want you to stay. And so therefore we're going to be accommodating those demands.
Great. So now we have someone who's interested in a dance minor and wants to know if there are any type of dance programs that are available.
There are some dance classes available. The theater and dance department split 2 years ago, so dance now is its own really engaging department. They as well have some opportunities through their Madicall, which is open to the university. I mean, they get tens and tens of different dancers, and you can get involved in their program, again, up to your interest level. They have dance classes offered there as well. They're an expanding faculty, expanding department. So they have a wide range of courses that they offer as well. And so that certainly is something that's available to students too.
Yeah, Madicall is Mather Dance Collective,
Mather
is that
Dance
right?
Collective, yeah.
So Mather's the building that the dance department is housed in, and so the Mather Dance Collective is them getting together.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity. A lot of our theater students do that, and so it's great.
Now we have a question from Chauncey, who's interested in the marching band and wants to know if are auditions earlier than when classes start, and when is it, or is there a band camp of some sort?
Wow, that's a question that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer accurately. I'm sure that the auditions are during the orientation week. And I think that there's going to be a band camp. We just hired a new marching band director, and I met her for the first time Monday. So I don't know what her plans are for band camp. I know that the past members of the marching band have been already contacting me and telling me that they're hoping there's going to be a band camp. So I think chances are good that there will be a band camp, but I just can't give you details about when it might be.
Great, and we have his email, so once we get some information from you, we'll be able to respond back to him in more detail, so that works out great. We have another comment that's come in from someone who wants to know if they can participate in pit orchestra in musicals. Well, I mean, that sounds, from my point of view, it sounds like something for footlighters, and certainly they put together their groups. The music directors are students, and they put together the pit orchestras that they need for their shows. But isn't theater doing a musical this year?
We are, and we're doing Rocky Horror.
Ah, okay.
So I'm not
with an orchestra, or
I assume so.
Oh,
I'm not directing that production. I don't know how many oboes are needed in Rocky Horror. For that rice and bread get thrown inside the instrument. But it is something that we are moving to doing more musicals, and I'm certainly in favor of it. So the students get different exposure to different opportunities. But yeah, I would say that currently right now, probably Footlighters is the best way to get involved in terms of working on a show of that type of show.
Right, yeah, sure. That they definitely need a band for each show that they do, and so I'd get in touch with Footlighters if playing in a pit is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a student who's coming in as a chemistry major and is now also interested in becoming a music major. Are there things that they need to do beforehand?
Yes, quite a lot of things. Thank you for being in touch. All our music majors have to audition in order to be accepted as music majors, and we also have them take a theory placement test so that we know where they are in theory. Not everybody has a chance to take theory pre-college, and we understand that. So we have people take a placement test, and those that are advanced go into more advanced courses, and those that are at a starting level get to start at a starting level. But those things need to happen before the semester begins. And in fact, if you go to the music department website, music.case.edu, you should find links there for prospective students and uploading a video. There's an organization called Decision Desk. It used to be called Citizen Group, and now it's Decision Desk. And it's It's a company that was started by two of our own alums from not very long ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and they now do all the auditions for Juilliard and Eastman and lots of music schools across the country. And so we're using them, and it's a pretty easy interface, and you upload videos of yourself playing or singing, whatever it is that you do, and they can be evaluated. We're asking students that are not yet in the system and that do want to become majors, we're asking them to upload their videos by, I think it's August 10th. That date should be on the website, and we can get back to you as to whether you've been accepted as a music major. But I suppose another question involved with that would be, is it possible to be a chemistry major and a music major? And the answer is yes, and we have a lot of music majors that are double majors with many, many other departments in the College of Arts and Sciences, including chemistry and history and English and whatever.
Yeah.
Anything in the College of Arts and Sciences, and that's 22 or 23 departments. Yeah. It's a little more complicated if you're coming in as an engineering student and you want to major in music. I don't know whether you have any engineers that are
We have one full engineer student who's also
because that's
theater.
a double degree, double degree or dual degree, and so you have to satisfy the engineering school core requirements in addition to the general ed requirements of the college, and so that could take an extra semester or an extra year. But we have students that do it. We have students that succeed tremendously at it, that carry 20, 25 credit hours a semester and love every minute of it. And
yeah, we have one student who's doing it in 4 years.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know if he
happened for us
sees
too.
the sun much, but we have him. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that Case Western Reserve not only tolerates this, but actually encourages students like that, because we get really smart and really talented students. Students that have other professional aspirations, but are really serious about the arts, whether it's music or theater. And we don't want to make it difficult for them to come here. We want to encourage them because we think it brings us a really interesting kind of student. So those kinds of things are possible. Certainly the engineering part takes a lot of work, but really a double major with anything else in the College of Arts and Sciences is perfectly straightforward, and we have many, many students that are doing it now.
Yeah, I think grad schools love double majors, especially in two different fields. I have a 100% acceptance rates of students who are theater majors that went to med school and that got into med school because they know that you have a personality. You know that you, well, you know what I'm saying? Because you know how to talk, you know how to be comfortable, and you've learned a different set of skills and different mindset about compassion, about a whole different approach than simply just being in science courses all the time, and that's really attractive to grad schools.
Yeah, music has a very high acceptance rate into med school too, one of the highest, I think. And it's because med school looks at somebody who's coming in with musical skills and they say, well, this is someone who has the discipline to practice. Yeah. This is someone who has analytical skills, because if you're reading music notation, you have good analytical skills, and you'll probably have good finger dexterity. So for those specializations that require that kind of thing, they say a musician. Okay, we've got someone with 3 qualifications that are very desirable, and so music gets a very high acceptance rate to med school too.
Yeah.
Great. We have now. So this is someone who goes to all the sporting events and sees the marching band and grew up in drum and bugle corps for many years. So I'm excited to see that we have more questions about the marching band. And someone wants to know that they read online. Can they really use the marching band as a phys ed requirement? They want to know if that's really true.
Yes, that is true. You do have to take it for credit. That is to say, like so many ensembles, you can take it for 0 or 1 credit. So if you're signing up for it and your goal is to use marching band for PE credit, you should just be sure you sign up for 1 hour credit for the semester. But yeah, I mean, you're going to be marching around Case Field. I mean, it sounds just like physical ed to me. So.
Yeah. We were always wondering why dance was never allowed to be physical education, because you're just exhausted by the time you're done with classes. But it's great that marching band's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have someone who's interested in a theater minor and possibly studying abroad and wants to know, one, if that's possible, and if they do they can take only theater majors, only theater classes when they're abroad, or what kind of classes would you usually recommend?
Usually, well, we have a wide variety of different minors. Our minors are much more specific, whereas our major, you take a course set of classes, then after that you kind of guide your own way depending on where your interests lie. Our minors, you declare you're interested in like an acting track or a history track. And so, and you have to take a certain number of hours, 15, 18 hours for the minor. And so if you're interested in going abroad in theater, what you would do is you would either you would specify a study abroad program that kind of goes with your interests, and then the classes you would take over there would actually take the place of some of the requirements of taking them here on campus. So for example, we're just beginning a brand new program with the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is
Wow.
the best acting school in the country. We're one of 2 schools in the country allow this. I mean, this RADA is one of the best in the world. Every great English actor came from RADA. And we are creating a new program with them that's actually a mixture of acting as well as history, theater history. And so if you go to this program, you're going to get equivalent of 3 theater history classes taken, but those theater history classes are also cross-listed as American Studies classes, as World Lit classes. I mean, and so those classes can be applied in other fields as well. And so depending upon your interest as a minor, you get to declare your interest. We have students go in design. You can get rid of some of those classes abroad. And so I would just simply work with the student to see what their interest is and then try and find the right program for them. We don't have a limited number of programs that a student can go to, and I don't know how it is in music, that if you find a program that fits you, bring it to us. We'll make sure that it works. We'll try and get it to work, so that way you can have the experience that you want abroad, that we don't dictate that as much.
Right. We don't have, unlike the Royal Academy program that you have, we don't have special schools, certain schools abroad that we work with. It's really whatever the student finds that they're interested in. I had a student this semester who is going to Wales next year, and
Wow.
and asked if he could use his studies in Welsh language for his foreign language requirement. I've never had that question before, but why not? So we try to accommodate the students to their own special interest and make it work with their program.
It's amazing. Yeah, we've had students this past semester in Moscow and Australia and London and in New York. I mean, I'm always jealous of where the students get to go because they always have an amazing time. But and one of the great things I feel I should mention as well is that going abroad, your tuition is covered by CASE. There are different particulars, different programs in terms of travel and whether you have to pay for room and board. But nevertheless, the cost of the program is covered by your tuition at CASE. And so it really is a wonderful opportunity that, regardless of the field, I encourage you to try and take advantage of. Again, but start planning for it early on in your career.
It helps.
Great. Now we're going back to some ensemble questions. And we have a student who'd like to know if they're in an ensemble, how often do they meet and how are the performances graded?
Okay. Well, most ensembles meet twice a week. There are some that meet just once a week. So it would normally be about 2.5 hours for each ensemble, sometimes split in 2, sometimes in a single stretch. And how often do they perform? And so that varies also by ensemble. Some perform just once a semester towards the end. Some perform 2 or 3 times a semester. What was the other part of the question?
Graded, how are they graded?
Graded, oh right, yeah. Well, mostly those ensembles are graded on participation. You're not gonna get a grade based on how well you play your part. Although, I mean, we all hope that everyone works hard and does a really good job. But the idea is that you are a participant in the ensemble. You work hard, you contribute, and the grade that you get, if you're taking it for credit, is based on your level of commitment. It's not based on whether you missed an F sharp in the particular piece.
And the same thing with our credit classes is that it values process more than product. If things are an extension of the classroom, which I'm sure ensembles are, therefore we're much more interested in the amount of work you're putting in rather than actual one performance determining a grade and things like that.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think that people really worry too much about the grades for the ensembles. It's not something that they think about, and I haven't really had students talk to me about it. So
yeah, but also at the same time, hopefully you're not, auditioning for a show to get that 1 credit hour.
That's right. I'm saying I've got to keep my GPA up so I can get into med school. That's right.
Yeah.
So now we have a student who's been studying piano for 10 years and wants to continue, but is not planning on majoring or minoring in music. Are they able to take any type of lessons, and how would they go about doing that?
Right, yeah, I mentioned that a little bit with the slideshow. Any student at the university can take lessons, and the lessons for our students are taught at the Cleveland Institute of Music. So one of the great conservatories in the country. It's a really, really high level of lessons, a high level of teaching. But the only thing is that non-majors pay an applied music fee. So this is a certain amount of money that would be paid by the student each semester that they sign up for lessons that would be over and above tuition. And it gets added to the term bill, so chances are you're not going to notice. Your parents are going to pay it, and it's not usually a problem. No, it's really it's an amount comparable to what it would be if you were taking private lessons, except that in this case you get the opportunity to take lessons from faculty at a major conservatory. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Great. We're about running out of time, so I have one more question, and actually, if both of you can address it. We have a student who's concerned that if they're not a major and they don't have a chance to meet as many faculty members. So how do they go about meeting faculty if they're just a minor because they're just not in as many classes and so forth?
Good. I can go ahead.
Okay.
Well, really for us, our faculty, because the different shows are an extension of the classroom, the faculty are kind of always around. I'm sure a lot of your faculty go to the ensemble performances. With us, if you get involved in a show, you're going to meet the director is usually a member of the faculty. If you come to different meetings, the faculty are always there. So they're all different ways to get involved and to meet the faculty. And we're arts people. We welcome everybody. And so if you come and knock on our door, and we're there, we'll sit and talk to you and talk your ear off, as if you can't tell from this presentation. We'll be happy to talk to you about what it is you want, and then find ways to get you involved. We would love to have you come. If you want to come and sit in on a class, come sit in on a rehearsal. There's a lot of professors allow that too. There's all different types of ways. It's a type of thing we see in college where, and it's a wonderful lesson learned, is that you have to take the initiative. And as soon as as faculty members, as soon as we students take initiative, we want to help.
Sure. Yeah, I think I started my part of the presentation by saying that we have a fantastic faculty in the music department, and they're all interested in students. They're vitally interested in students. One of our faculty members is one of 3 MacArthur Fellows among musicologists in the world, and she is always trying to find ways to interact with the students and teach more undergraduate classes and just be involved. And so it's a great asset. Faculty in both the departments are huge assets to the university, and the students should just seek them out and get to know them, and it will be a really enjoyable experience for everyone, I'm sure.
We don't get into arts and education for the money.
That's right.
We do this because we love working with students, talking with students. I mean, it's an old cliche, but I learn just as much from the students, hopefully as much as they learn from me. And so I'd be happy to meet with any student to hear about what they want to do, or to debate ideas, and anything. That's the whole reason, why we became educators.
Sure.
So.
Great. I just want to thank all of the students who sent in questions, and if we didn't get to your question or we need to follow up with you, we will do that. And I just want to open it up to our hosts one more time to see if they have any final comments before we wrap up for the evening.
Take it away.
This is where my improv skills would come in handy.
There you go.
This is I've been here at CASE. I'm now entering my 4th year. And this is a remarkable institution. I came here from another highly ranked national university, and I have found such an amazing respect for the students here. They work hard, they play hard, they're always dedicated, and so we do expect a lot from our students because we know that they can deliver at that level. But at the same time, I think the opportunities for students available on this campus are really remarkable and really make Case Western Reserve such a unique place.
Well, I've been here a little longer than Jeff. I just finished my 34th year on the Case campus. And I can tell you that I think that the arts at Case Western Reserve has been a long kept secret that really needs to get out there. The opportunities in the arts are really unparalleled among universities worldwide, and we'd love to see students coming and taking advantage of everything that we have to offer.
Great. Thank you, Professor Illom and Professor Duffin. I just want to remind students that tomorrow evening we'll be having another online information session from the Case School of Engineering. We will be covering topics with civil engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, computer engineering, and mechanical and aerospace engineering. On Friday afternoon, we'll have the College of Arts and Sciences discussing the math and the natural sciences. And one that I'm sure everyone is waiting for, which is Registration 102, which is on July 10th. And myself and Dean Mason will be here to take questions about those last-minute registration questions you may have when you can start registering on July 12th. And then the final seminar we have is on July 19th, which will be after you register, and we'll be taking some questions on what do we do now. So thank you all for joining this evening. We look forward to seeing you soon.